Hello class, I'm going to introduce you today to chapter 3, and this chapter is about assessing students for instruction. And I thought starting off today what we ought to do is a little self-assessment, so pay attention carefully and think about yourself in this situation. How do you know if you're an insomniac, agnostic, dyslexic? Okay, here's the question again, and assess yourself. How do you know if you are an insomniac, agnostic, dyslexic? Okay, here's the answer. We'll see if you got it. If you lay awake at night and wonder if there is a dog. Okay, there's your little self-assessment and your special education joke for the day. That's a thinking joke, so hope you enjoyed it. Tell it to all your friends. Now, as you look at chapter 3, the first thing I want you to notice is that it points out that there are two reasons basically to teach assessment, and one of the, or to do assessment on students. And one of those is to determine what to teach. You have to start teaching where students are at. You can't teach them something they're not ready for, and there's no point in teaching them something they've already, matter of fact, I don't think you can teach somebody something they already know. The second reason for assessment is to determine how to teach. Different children have different learning styles, so you want to determine those types of things. Okay. Another thing I want you to notice is that in your slides and in your book, they talk about RTI having 3 tiers. Well, that's the way we're doing it in Florida, but don't be confused into thinking that it is that way everywhere. In California, they don't have RTI. They have RTI squared, response to intervention and instruction. In Georgia, they have 5 tiers. Other states have 4 tiers. 3 tiers is a common model. In Florida, we've tried to make a big deal and call MTSS, multi-tiered system of support, as if it is different from response to intervention, but that is mainly semantics. It's just different terminology, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. The concepts are the same, and they're the same as what we did with pre-referral, and that is find your kids that are having trouble, provide them with extra help. If that doesn't work, try something different, and if it still doesn't work, consider evaluation. Now, the book also talks about stages of learning, and this is important. There's acquisition, proficiency, maintenance, generalization, and adaptation. Your job, a big part of your job is getting students to acquisition. They have to understand how to do something, so you teach them to do that. Proficiency is where things like worksheets or homework come in, and what you're trying to do here is build a child's skills so that he's able to do it more quickly and more accurately after they know how to do it. But it's not appropriate to give worksheets or homework on skills that students don't learn. Maintenance is the ability to continue to do something over time, and generalization is the ability to do it more in one environment. Adaptation is when you take something that you've learned in one situation and you're able to tweak it so that you can use it in another. The book also talks about grading, and what I want to emphasize here is it is not ethical, and you'll see that this happens all the time. I don't mean to badmouth the people that are doing it, but what I want to tell you is that when you're giving grades, they should be based on academic performance and not behavior. Behavior is a separate issue. If you've got a child who's really mastered content and yet he gives you a hard time in class, that does not give you the right to prevent him from having a transcript that gets him into college. Okay? You have to find another way to deal with the behavior. Also, think about what the purpose of grades are when you're giving them. We don't have special diplomas in Florida at this point in time. We'll see how long that lasts. It just changed last year. But there's a difference between giving a grade to motivate a child who's going for a special diploma and giving a student a grade that's better perhaps than they deserve when that grade's going to be used to compete with other students for college admissions. So make sure you're awarding grades ethically. I'm going to provide you with some information about accommodations and modifications. Because I will provide you with a few internet links that are going to be useful to you. And I want to emphasize that you should also use students, and there's information on data recording, and I'm going to give you another video on that. I want to emphasize that it's important to keep students involved in keeping records because they find it motivating. When you're talking about portfolios, you will find that it's helpful to have kids decide what to put in portfolios and have an input into their own assessment. And also when you have students graph their own progress, it tends to make them more involved. Okay, enjoy the chapter. If you've got questions, get a hold of me or any type of problems. And I'm going to provide you with some other internet resources, and we'll see how I go as far as the technology, but I'm going to at least give you some other videos on some other topics. All right, take care. Bye.